Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is a new video talking about how I got myself more confident within the years, because I know a lot of you do not have a lot of confidence. I mean, I feel like nowadays, especially in my own generations, do not have a lot of confidence at all. And yeah, let's get into it. So I think first you need to understand where it comes from. Where is this lack of confidence coming from? The moment you understand the source, that's the moment you're going to start to elevate yourself to your own standards. Or else you're just going to stay stuck, or you're going to try things who actually will not be able to work. Okay. So for most of you, the lack of confidence can come from childhood. This is where you start. You start to go back in time, even though you don't really remember, feelings are still there. There's still things that are going to be lingering about that time, that area, that moment in time, and you're gonna start thinking like, what was happening at that moment that made me lose confidence in myself? And the moment you start to understand that it could potentially come from your childhood or from your teenagehood, that's the moment you start to work on yourself. What was I doing back then that made me so happy, which doesn't anymore? What was I doing back then that was giving me confidence and now I don't have it anymore? Start to think about the stuff that you stopped doing or the things that you have implemented in your life which makes you have no confidence whatsoever. The moment you have this, that's the moment you're going to have a solid base to work on. And in everyday life, depending on different situations, obviously, because you're going to react differently depending on the situation, you see how you could implement yourself to it. So let's say, for example, you have a thesis, you have a supervisor. Your supervisor doesn't have any kind of communication and you're stressing about it, but you don't have any type of confidence to be able to email your teacher multiple times on the fact that there's no communication and it's your responsibility to have this thesis done, right? At that moment, you start to take a step back, okay? Because that is really personal. Your thesis is really personal to you, and your degree is really personal to you as well. So you take a step back and imagine yourself in someone else's shoes, a friend, a family member, someone you barely know, if that helps you. And you generally start to think, how would I help this person if this person was telling me the exact same thing? What would you do? What would you do if if a friend told you, well, I have this dissertation to do or this thesis to do and my supervisor doesn't have any sort of communication. I don't know what to do. What would you tell me to do? And then at that moment, you will have answers and you will not feel this blockage anymore, because at that point, it will not be personal anymore. It will not be about you. And so if you imagine just for a second that this is not your problem and it's someone else's, this can actually help you to be more confident about the situation. And this is usually what I do. I start to detach myself from the issue to be able to do it with confidence, without worrying, without self-doubt, without knowing my own self-worth. Because at the end of the day, if people are against you, it is their own problem and it's not yours, okay? Then what also has really helped me were acting classes. I have done acting when I was about 19, 20 years old, and at the beginning I will tell you I had no confidence in myself, and I think most of the people in the class didn't either. So I think if you genuinely wish for confidence, even if you don't wish for an acting career, this is really, really good, because they actually teach you how to feel more confident. Doesn't matter. I mean, you can very much worry thinking like, oh my god, what are they gonna think if I go to these classes? And I generally tell them, I just want more confidence and I don't want to do acting. Well, who cares? That's fine. That is perfectly fine. If they judge, that is their problem, it's not yours. You're here for a reason. You're paying those classes for a reason. You have your reasons, they have theirs. And at the end of the day, you're going to have more confidence because you've done those classes. And yeah, I mean, if this is not more like to you, like if you're generally like, I don't want to do this, like I don't think this is gonna help me, or you're generally not into acting in this way, even if it's just like for confidence boost, I mean, you can very much get a therapist. Yeah. A therapist is there to help you. A therapist is there to guide you into the right direction. Obviously, the moment you get a therapist, you're not gonna get confident after 2 weeks. It's gonna take time, it's gonna take weeks, months, depending on your situation, your issues, the blockage you have in your own mind. Things are going to get a little bit more complicated, maybe, or not. You know, if it's simply one issue which you have, an issue with, well, it would be very, very simple. But I would say a therapist is something that really, really helped me into becoming more confident as much as acting, actually. I think acting is really good because it actually makes you ground yourself independently. It makes you be able to be yourself without actually pushing you to be someone else. Because obviously you're doing a character, right? You're doing a monologue, you're playing someone else. But the moment you're putting yourself out there in public, in front of an audience, that's the moment you actually start to expose yourself. And I think exposing yourself to a certain level can be very good for someone who does not have any type of confidence, someone who's shy, self-doubt a lot, and generally does not know how to put themselves out there. Now, obviously, if none of these are good for you, then you really have to be doing it in a psychological way. So as I said, you take a step back, you start to visualize, analyze the situation into someone else's perspective, and then maybe that could help you. But if all of these situations genuinely do not help you, then you can very much talk to someone who's not a therapist, a friend. Genuinely, like, if you have very good friends, you genuinely feel like you're not gonna they're not gonna make fun of you if you tell them genuinely, I don't have confidence in myself. Then do it. If you don't want to pay money, you can have a friend, you can have a family member, you can talk to your dog if you want, if you're really attached to it. Like, it's not stupid at all. If it helps you, it's not stupid. I think what could also really help people, and I think people generally are like, oh, what the hell, but talking to yourself in the mirror is actually one of the best things you can do. It's generally one of the first things that people actually do to get more confidence. Also, if they want to get through acting, they look at themselves in the mirror. Generally tell yourself what's going on. You have this situation, you don't know how to get rid of it. You're generally like, this is not helping me. I do not have any kind of confidence in it. I genuinely feel like this is not working. You tell this to your freaking mirror, okay? It sounds dumb. It sounds like the more silliest thing to do, but it does work because you're talking to yourself. Obviously, you're talking to yourself, right? We know that the other reflection is us. So the moment you're talking to it, it sounds to become really intimate, really personal. You might shed some tears. You might. But that's because it works. Okay, if you start to cry, it does not mean it's not working, it means it's working. And yes, for people who generally do not like to cry in front of people, I think this is a very, very good solution to be able to be more confident. Because the moment that you generally start to tell all the doubts, the fears, generally all these, lack of confidence that you have, that's the moment you're going to start to open yourself more. A lot of the issues that we have about self-doubt, about self-confidence is the fact that we built it up inside of us. And this lack of confidence can actually be translated to other people as aggressiveness, shyness, indecisiveness. And if you don't wish for people to see you this way, this is a very good example, very good exercise that you can do. Then you can generally journal if you want. There's a lot of journaling. People journal to be able to have more confidence in themselves. They generally write their self-doubt. They write what's wrong with them at that moment. I cannot do this. I can't do that. I can't seem to be doing this thing. You write it down. If it helps you, obviously. Not everyone. For me, it doesn't work. I would just say straight up. I know for a lot of people it works. Journaling for people really, really works. For some people it doesn't. For me, it doesn't really do much. I just write it down and I'm like, what then? It's not enough. and that's perfectly fine for you. It's not enough. But if you want to journal, then talk to yourself in the mirror, and then again do acting classes, you can do all three at once. You don't have to do one, then one, then one. You can do like multiple things at once, which will help you. This is exactly what I did. And then I have this thing, but it might not work for everyone. I feel like this is more of a me situation, but I genuinely think that's not that big of a deal. Who cares? That's generally the best one for me. Like, if I genuinely have a situation which I'm very exposed to, and I'm genuinely thinking in the beginning, oh my god, how am I gonna do this? I don't have the confidence to do it. At the end of the day, I'm just like, these people are not gonna, if there's people around, obviously, these people are not gonna remember me. I just have to do this for 30 seconds if it's 30 seconds. Or if it's a presentation, for example, I have to do this for the 10 minutes of my own lifetime. These people are maybe not going to remember my presentation afterwards. Maybe some of them are not even going to listen to you. It sounds a little bit harsh, I'm sorry, but it's true. And not a lot of people listen to presentations when you do presentations. I surely don't listen to people. I'm being honest with you. So yeah, I mean, I think this really helps me as well to get more confident about certain situations, because some people genuinely will not remember you in this moment in time. If you do wish to be remembered, then you think the opposite. You think, oh, but some people are genuinely going to like this presentation. These people are generally going to listen to me, and I'm going to say things that are relevant, they're good, and I'm going to get applause afterwards. It doesn't matter, right? Like, if you wish to be seen or if you don't wish to be seen, you generally switch the scenario, the script, in the way you wish for it to work. And then at that moment, you're gonna have a boost of confidence and do it, even if you felt like you didn't have it. It's very, very psychological, but it can affect the physical too. So it starts as a psychological issue and then it becomes physical. You can have your hands that start to, tremble. I've had this a lot of times. You can start to sweat. Very, very normal reaction. You can generally stumble your words. Yes, that is one of, the things that you have a lack of confidence. But hey, a part of you're human at the end of the day, right? So it's perfectly normal. But obviously, if you want to get better, then change the scenarios in your own mind. Because if you keep this blockage, thinking, I can't do this, I genuinely cannot do this, I'm stuck, then you're going to stay stuck. And then you will not be able to move forward, and then days, weeks, months go by and nothing has been done. I think a lot of writers actually have this as well with their own books. The moment they have this idea in their own mind, is not exactly working with their book, they get stuck. They stop it, it's a blockage in their own mind, and then they start to have this lack of confidence about it. And I think this is really good for writers. Stop thinking so much about this one tiny detail which could have worked for your book. It could have worked for something else. It could have worked for another book that you want to work on. It could very much work for another scene in that book, another chapter, or simply don't put it in at all. And it's perfectly fine if you genuinely do this. I promise you, it's fine. And the moment you actually start to get out of that blockage, of this mind blocking you, telling you, I can't do this, I don't have the confidence, I genuinely feel like my body is stuck, that's the moment you actually start to feel lighter. You're actually going to do things more than you didn't do before. Like, you would genuinely say, oh, I'm gonna start presenting first, or you're going to go out to someone to ask them out or give your number, and this is something that you would never do if you hadn't done any type of work on yourself. But at the end of the day, this is very much about you, so it's a work that you have to do yourself. Sure, people can help you about it, they can guide you like I'm doing right now, but at the end of the day, the work has to come from you. And if you're not ready to do the work, it might not actually work. Okay, this is very, very psychological, as I said. If you don't have the means to work on it, or if you're not 100% motivated to work on yourself, it will not work, because it's very, very psychological. You have to be able to have this frustration and this need of wanting to be better, of wanting to actually feel like you wish to be more confident in life. And yeah, I mean, in the moment you reach this, that's the moment you're actually going to start to feel so much better, and you would never wish to go back to being self-conscious about everything that you're doing. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope this was very helpful. I may not have pointed out every single point about being more confident. I'm sure that maybe if you want to put them in the comments, but that would be very, very nice for me. If you wish for me to do another suggestions of videos, you're more than welcome to put them in the comments as well. You can subscribe to my Instagram, my TikTok, and also this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!